tell us something. We hear about this conflict in Balochistan. What is the background? Why should we in Canada be interested in what is happening over there?
Okay. Balochistan has occupied by Pakistani forces in 1948. Before it, Balochistan was a free state. Even Balochistan is not a part geographically of subcontinent.
You mean the
it's part
Indian
of Central
subcontinent?
Asia. Because of its genuine nationalistic movement, and it has its roots from its own land, and it emerged from the psyche of Baloch people. But here, the Pakistani army and the Pakistani establishment and the Pakistani unnatural state has occupied the Balochistan. This state itself a threat for the rest of civilized world because of it is a breeding ground of terrorists. You can say Pakistani state is a nest of hornets which is breeding the terrorists, religious extremists, and it spreads its terrorism throughout the world. Even America, Britain, and other countries are not spared from the terrorism of Pakistani states. And in this time, Balochistan is the soul and the only hope of this for the civilized world to secure the region because of Baloch national movement based only on secularism and only on moderate principles. So I think so the intellectuals and the civilized world really will take interest in this case. Although in this time we are not seeing any attention which we are hoping from the civilized world, but we hope the civilized world and the people who are struggling for democracy and for humanism, they really think and they will join our struggle morally.
But Dr. Nazar, people in Pakistan, when we ask them, they say that you folks are the terrorists, that you are creating terrorism. How do you answer that question?
No, I am not a terrorist, and we are not terrorists. We are fighting for our struggle. Our struggle is based on international law, so we honor the international law. According to international law, we are doing our struggle for freedom, and our struggle is we are freedom-loving people, but the freedom-loving people mostly honor us, and our people love us. But it is the psyche of colonial powers. They always used to say all those people who struggle for their freedom. But now the world really is thinking what's happening here in Balochistan. Because of the Pakistani state is creating terrorism and destructing the Baloch national movement and creating sectarian problems like Lashkar-e-Jangvi, Jamaat-ul-Dawa, and other pro-state and fundamentalist groups are masquerading the Baloch freedom-loving people here in Balochistan. All these terrorist groups are sponsored by Pakistani state and Pakistani state security agencies like ISI and MI, FIU and others. So it's an open secret that Pakistani ISI is sponsoring all terrorist groups who are conducting terrorism in operating terrorist activities, even in America, in Europe, in Africa, in Arab world, in South Asia, each and every place they are operating the terrorism. But the terrorism is controlling here by ISI. So how a terrorist state, a rogue state, is the world believe on their talks, on their conversations, on their whisperings that Baloch freedom-loving people, like me or others, are terrorists.
But Dr. Nazar, you were a physician. You went to medical school. You were practicing doctor. What made you take up arms and lead the Baloch movement for independence for Balochistan?
I am a doctor, but I am a Baloch. I have a nation, I have a land, I have roots with my land and with my nation, and I have a culture that I am connected with my culture. So I am memorizing the first brutalities of Bhutto regime, martial law, and I am seeing the poverty, the cultural genocide, the illiteracy, all these things compel me to take arms. So my arm is not a sign of terrorism, because my arm is bound totally by a political ideology. That ideology is to is for freedom and to protect not only the Balochistan but rest of the world and the neighbors of Baloch country from the terrorists, from the fundamentalists, jihadists, and occupiers. So all these things compel me to leave my medical practice and take arms against the brutalities and oppression of Pakistani state.
Doctor, some of the critics say that you should involve yourself in peace talks with the current Balochistan government of another Dr. Abdul Malik, who is now the chief minister. What do you think? Is there no chance of sitting on across the table and having a dialogue with the new Baloch government?
No, never. First of all, I would like to clear it that the National Party and the government of National Party, which is headed by Dr. Abdul Malik Baloch, he is not a nationalist. He's a federalist. And I can't say that Dr. Malik and his party is the representative of Baloch, because of Dr. Malik has come into power by bargaining through a deal with ISI, and now Dr. Abdul Malik Baloch is just a clone, nothing. I can say that the peaceful dialogues are impossible until and unless Pakistani government withdraw its forces from Balochistan, and in the presence of international community, in the presence of the UNO, the peaceful dialogues are possible. Otherwise, without recognition of Baloch freedom or Baloch sovereignty, the talks and dialogue is impossible.
There is also criticism that the Baloch national struggle is basically being carried out at the behest of some Baloch Sardars or tribal chiefs who are funding this movement. What do you have to say to that criticism?
I think so. It's ridiculous. Baloch is totally supporting the Baloch freedom movement.
You,
It is not a class struggle here in Balochistan. It's a freedom movement. Even the tribal chiefs, the sardars, and the middle class and commoners, all are slaves of Pakistani establishment of occupiers. While all the tribal chiefs are in the pocket of a state, all the tribal chiefs are puppets. They are playing with the hands of ISI and military intelligence, and but Baloch freedom movement is funding by Baloch people and with the help of Baloch people and the Baloch diaspora and the Baloch working people who are living in Balochistan. They are supporting the Baloch movement. But Baloch national movement, Baloch freedom movement is leading by organizations, not by any individual. But it's a war rumors and it's a propaganda of Pakistani establishment and of colonial powers to show the one picture of the movement to the world that this movement is running via some individuals. But in fact, the recent Baloch liberation movement is controlled by organizations, by political parties, not by individuals. It's supporting and it's funding by Baloch people, not by tribal chiefs and others. All these are rumors, all these are propagandas, all these are fake allegations by ISI and MI.
Dr. Nazar, what do you say about Chinese presence inside Balochistan? We hear that now the strategic port of Gwadar, which is at the mouth of the Straits of Hormuz, the Pakistan government has handed it over to Chinese military. How do you react to that, and what can you do to stop the Chinese presence in Pakistan?
Baloch is thinking that Chinese government is equal partner and helping the Pakistan establishment to genocide Baloch nation, and Chinese is equal partner in exploiting the Baloch resources, Baloch minerals, as like, you know, it's in your knowledge that they're taking a huge goods from Sandak. And now the Chinese are going to operate the Gwadar port. But it is not acceptable for Baloch. Baloch is thinking and Baloch is looking at very closely, and Baloch is reacting that Chinese are supporting to Pakistan in order to exploit the Baloch resources and to for settling the Pakistanis to prolonging the Pakistani occupation in Balochistan. So the Chinese policy is the recent Chinese policy is a imperialistic policy. So not only Baloch condemn it, but Baloch will fight against it because of it's not only a threat for Baloch, but it's a threat for world and even for India, for America, for European countries, and for the whole world. Though all those countries, including America and others who are supporting the Pakistan, Baloch is really concerned about it, how the civilized world is supporting a rogue and terrorist country. And Chinese, in the presence of China, is not acceptable for Baloch.
Have you seen any Chinese military presence inside Balochistan?
Yes, as a couple of years back, look, they are they took I think so. A lot of Chinese, a lot of Chinese are present in Pakistan in order to, and they are commonly taking exercises, military exercises, in order to counter the Baloch movement. I think so. Last year, or I think so, 2 years back, they also 2 or 3 times they took the Pakistani armies and the Chinese army took an exercise of counter-insurgency. And recently, when Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif went to China, they signed on an agreement to protect the Pakistani port, and they funded the Pakistani estate in order to crush the Baloch liberation movement. So we think so, financially and military experts and all the resources of Chinese present here in Pakistan in order to crush the Baloch liberation movement.
Dr. Ala Nazar, one final question. Short of Balochistan being an independent country, will you compromise on anything which keeps Balochistan according to the 6-point plan of Ataullah Mengal or other people who have said that maximum autonomy should be given to Balochistan, but it should stay within the Federation of Pakistan? Do you outrightly reject that?
Yes, I reject it. Not only I reject it, but the Baloch nation has rejected it. Baloch will never compromise on these points, and Baloch want only freedom, and we will keep continue our freedom struggle till our last breath and till last Baloch. And we are struggling for a free Baloch, and not only Baloch freedom movement and a free Baloch will protect the Baloch people, but the world needs a buffer state. As before 1997, 1979, Afghanistan was a buffer state. So now the world also needs a buffer state. I think so. The ideal state, buffer state, will be Balochistan, and it will protect the interest of the rest of the world.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ala Nazar, for taking the time. I know it is past midnight in the mountains of Balochistan from where you speak. I really want to thank you for joining us tonight. You take care of yourself and Khuda Hafiz.
Thanks.